Have you ever traveled to Mecca? Ibrahim built the house of Allah. Muslims, when they face the Kaaba, they bow down in sajda. Ibrahim Khalilullah broke the idols made.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, looking good. Day 1 of Ramadan, alhamdulillah, we made it. How does it feel?
I'm pretty beat right now. I'm pretty beat, man.
Yeah?
Alhamdulillah, you know.
Just don't be like a marathon runner who gets tired in the middle of Ramadan and then he just disappears. So be someone who's consistent right throughout Ramadan, inshallah. So inshallah, we hope that all of you, inshallah, start off your Ramadan in high beat and that you're able to sustain that by being consistent, as we talked in our previous video, by having SMART goals. So hopefully by now you have determined a SMART goal.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
Can't wait for it. I like my hat. I hope you do too.
Alhamdulillah, I like it too. So inshallah, we're going to recite to you a beautiful verse from Surah Yusuf. This is verse number 3. And then we will get some our first lesson for the day, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين.
We relate unto you, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the best of stories through our revelations unto you of this Quran. And before this, before the coming of divine revelation to you, you were among those who knew nothing about it, the Quran.
So, what do you notice here, Mahmoud? You notice how Allah SWT is saying that the stories that were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ were the best of stories. Now, something amazing about Surah Yusuf is this story is mentioned from its beginning to the end in one shot, in one surah. It's a beautiful surah with amazing lessons, like we mentioned. So today what we're going to discuss is how many types of stories you find in the Quran and why are there stories mentioned in the Quran. As you know, Quran is the book of Allah and nothing happens in the Quran without a reason, right? So the first type of stories mentioned in the Quran are
prophets and messengers and what happened to their people.
Okay. Now that means prophets mentioned in the Quran, for example, Prophet Abraham or Ibrahim, Prophet Moses, Musa alayhi salam, Prophet Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, and many other prophets and their stories of the people and what happened to them. Now it's very important that we understand what happened to the previous nations and what mistakes they made, because the stories are not just mentioned for us to say, oh wow, these guys messed up, but the same mistakes they're making, a lot of the Muslims are making the same mistakes today. So for us to gain benefit from these stories, it's important to learn what the mistakes they made so we don't make the same mistakes.
The second type of stories are individuals and groups.
Okay, so what that means is there are certain groups or individuals that Quran talks about. For example, the Ashabul Fil in Surah Fil, Alam Tara Kayfa Fa'ala Rabbuka bi Ashabil Fil. Allah SWT talks about the story of the elephant, where a group of people tried to attack the Kaaba and how Allah SWT protected the Kaaba. So there's a great lesson in that story. So that's another category of stories. There's a story of the Ashabul Ukhdud, people of the ditch who were burned in the ditch because they claimed to have faith in one God and worship one God alone. There was a story of Maryam alayhi salam, Luqman alayhi salam, Dhul Qarnayn. So these are stories of individuals and other certain groups that are mentioned in the Quran as well, and there's great benefits in their stories.
And the third and last type of stories are majority of verses are about Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Don't forget to say sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Yes. As
you know from an authentic hadith that every time you send peace and blessings on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that Allah SWT does the same for you 10 times.
10 times.
So may Allah SWT help us make that a habit all throughout Ramadan, inshallah. So what he means that majority of the verses in the Quran are actually the story of Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam himself.
Sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
How is that the case? Because as you know, the Quran was not revealed as a book all in one shot. It was revealed piece by piece, verses by verses, based on the context of what's happening in the society. So for example, in a certain battle, a mistake that the Muslims make, and then Allah SWT will reveal certain verses to correct their mistake, to give them an advice, or other places where revelation will come to the Prophet ﷺ to address a certain situation. So that means that most of the Quran is actually the story of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And that is why it's so important to understand the context of these verses. As you know, there's out there Muslim haters out there who are taking the verses of the Quran and they
Disrespect, Holmes.
Yes, that is very disrespectful. They basically mention the verses of the Quran without telling you the context of where it was revealed, and try to put a bad name out there. But inshallah, may Allah forgive them and help us forgive them as well, and clean our hearts inshallah this Ramadan. So that was your first lesson for the day.
So next time you guys read a story, just make sure to try to understand and drive lessons from that story, because every story has a reason and a purpose to it.
Yep. So inshallah, as the verse that we recited in the beginning, that the stories in the Quran are the best stories in the Quran because they have so many lessons, and Surah Yusuf is going to be an amazing story to go through. We hope to see you tomorrow, day 2 of Ramadan inshallah, and gain amazing lessons from this beautiful story. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and enjoy your meals. You deserved it.
Alright.
Ready? Action. Boop!
Ya Allah. This is going to take forever. Bismillah. Okay, so the first type of... What is that?
Have you ever traveled to Mecca? Ibrahim built the house of Allah. Muslims, when they face the Kaaba, they bow down in sajda. Ibrahim Khalilullah broke the idols made of stone when they threw him in the burning flame. Allah had cooled it down for him, the time of